inherited an IRA or a 401k, or can see that happening sometime in the future, there's a decision sitting right in front of you that could cost you thousands of dollars, and most people get it wrong before they even realize they made the mistake. Personally, I recently had to learn these rules firsthand after inheriting an IRA from my mother, who passed away last year. And it reminded me just how confusing inherited IRA rules have become. But the good news is you don't have to figure this out alone, because today I'm going to walk you through the biggest mistakes that people make, explain the difference between inheriting an IRA or 401k from a spouse versus from a parent or somebody else, and show you how to avoid unnecessary taxes and grow your money, all while staying on the right side of the IRS. This is one of those retirement topics that's incredibly important, but surprisingly few people understand it, and getting it wrong can cost you real money and the opportunity for real portfolio growth. Welcome to The Unretired, where you're not done, but you're finally doing what you want. If topics like this are useful to you, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps us build the community here. And a quick disclaimer here, this video is for education and general information only. It's not financial advice, because remember, everybody's financial situation is completely different. There's no one size fits all. So make sure that you run your own numbers, and if you can, please consult with a qualified financial planner. All right, one of the unfortunate realities of life is that people pass away, people that we love dearly. And they love us dearly, and they leave us gifts. And one of the things they may leave you is a 401k or an IRA. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to refer mostly to an IRA, but that's kind of a catch-all for the 401k too, because they're treated much the same from a tax standpoint. Immediately after you inherit an IRA, you generally have two choices. You can cash it out, or you can transfer it into a proper inherited IRA account. Now, while taking all the money immediately is certainly allowed in many cases, it's usually the most expensive tax decision and least optimal decision that you can make. Cash out a traditional IRA and you're going to owe taxes on it right away. Cash out a Roth and it's usually tax-free, but either way, you're going to lose years of future tax advantage growth of that money in that portfolio. Just because you can cash it out doesn't mean that you should. Now, here's the biggest fork in the road, and honestly, the mental model I want you to carry through this entire video. Who did you inherit the IRA from? Was it your spouse or somebody else? That one answer changes almost every rule that follows. Let's start with the easier situation. If you inherit an IRA from your spouse, you generally have the option to do what's called a spousal rollover. This account effectively becomes your own account. A traditional IRA stays traditional, a Roth stays Roth, and future withdrawals follow your age, not your spouse's. And this is by far the most flexible option for most surviving spouses. That said, there's one exception that's worth knowing about. If you're under 59 and a half and need income immediately, keeping it as an inherited IRA instead may actually be preferable than the rollover spousal IRA, because it can avoid the early withdrawal penalties that would come with a normal IRA. Now, we're not going to go deep into that, but just knowing that option exists is really important. Okay, so that's how you handle when a spouse passes. Now, this is where most of you watching are actually going to relate. If you inherit an IRA from a parent, or really from anybody other than a spouse, you can't simply merge it into your own IRA the way a surviving spouse can. Different rules apply in this scenario, and it's usually subject to what's called the 10-year rule. And this is where I think a lot of people get genuinely surprised. Many assume that they can just keep the account forever, growing it quietly in the background the same way it did for their parents. But the IRS has other plans, and understanding that early can completely change how you approach the account from day one. And here's where it gets a little more nuanced, and where I'd really encourage you to slow down. If it's an inherited Roth IRA, you generally don't face the annual required distributions along the way, but the entire account still has to be emptied at the end of year 10. On the other hand, if it's an inherited traditional IRA, you may actually need to take annual distributions if the original owner had already reached their required distribution age, or for RMDs, before passing away. Otherwise, you're generally still required to empty the account by year 10, even without annual minimums along the way. And that is exactly why inherited IRAs confuse so many people, including plenty of accountants. The rules change depending on who passed away, when they passed away, and what type of account it was to begin with. There's no single formula that covers every family's situation. Now at this point, let me ask you, have you ever inherited an IRA, or do you expect to someday? Was the process easier or harder than you expected? Please share your experience in the comments below. I read every single one, and your story, I guarantee you, will probably help somebody else who's trying to navigate this exact same situation. All right, let's talk about the money itself. Distributions from an inherited traditional IRA count as taxable income. Distributions from an inherited Roth are generally tax-free. And importantly, there's no early withdrawal penalty on inherited IRA distributions, regardless of your age. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions here, and it's confusing taxes with penalties. The penalty of early withdrawal may disappear, the taxes usually don't. So instead of withdrawing randomly or just taking whatever feels easiest each year, you need to think strategically. Spread the income out across multiple years where it makes sense. Avoid jumping into higher tax brackets than you actually need to just because a big lump sum feels simpler. Coordinate your withdrawals with your Social Security, any Roth conversions you're already doing, and Medicare's income-related premium surcharges and any other taxable income that you have coming from investments or part-time work. And this is where tax planning becomes far more important than simply following the withdrawal rules on autopilot. And it's often the difference between an inherited IRA that quietly disappears into taxes or one that's managed thoughtfully over a full decade and maximizes the overall return on that portfolio. Now, I'll say this briefly because it's really the reason I'm talking about the topic at all. I recently inherited my mother's IRA, and it reminded me these rules aren't theoretical. It also changed some of my own retirement tax planning. I'm actually going to do a separate video walking through my personal situation because it's fairly unique and it's very instructive to actually go through a real case study. But regardless of your specific situation, these rules affect almost anybody or everybody who inherits an IRA or a 401k. Before we get to the biggest mistake I want you to avoid, if this has been helpful, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because there's more coming on inherited IRAs, Roth conversions, and tax-efficient withdrawal strategies. All right, let's get to the biggest mistake I see people make. And this is not understanding the rules before making their first withdrawal. Your first distribution is often the most important retirement tax decision you're gonna make because once the money comes out, you can't put the tax bill back in the bottle. Inheriting an IRA is a true blessing that one of your loved ones left to you as a gift. But it also comes with responsibilities and tax rules that can be surprisingly complicated. So whether you inherit from a spouse, a parent, or another loved one, just take a little time up front to understand your options, and that can save you thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes, while also giving you the biggest opportunity to let that money grow in a tax-deferred or tax-advantaged situation in that portfolio. Remember, the goal isn't just simply inheriting the account. The goal is preserving as much of it as possible, because once you understand how these rules actually work, you can make decisions that benefit both you and your family for years to come. And for sure, that's exactly what the person who gave it to you as a gift would have wanted.